the sources in which you're gathering that information, right, is going to change from, and I think that hopefully that's rings true to folks, that this exercise was not about, okay, go start looking at Google Trends and GitHub for your product, but you need to be able to identify, those areas where you do have early adopters, and this could be whether you're a brand new company or an existing company, which in our case, we've been around for over a decade, and we serve, a pretty central segment, but a piece of the product development lifecycle for our customers. And there are edges where our product doesn't necessarily hit immediately. And for us, those are the areas that we start to look into, trying to find early adopters. And in the thoughts of, do we want to grow into new areas that our product doesn't serve, or should we go back and focus on our core until we start to see them? And so the way we start to identify that, and rather than using Google Trends and GitHub, we're looking for our customers and listening to our customers who are doing analog workflows and kind of trying to recreate those in the tool. And they run into these blockers, and then they ask us, hey, can you build this feature? Hey, why doesn't the tool work this way? And oftentimes our response is, well, because our strategy, a good strategy should let you say no. I think this is something, Ronan, you talk about a lot in the email as well, is listen to your customers, because while they start to push on your strategy, it may be very easy for you to say, no, we're not going to go build feature X over here because our strategy says focus here. But in reality, that may be one of your early adopters saying, hey, this could be a big opportunity for you. Let's look into it. And so that's where we start to pull a lot of that data and run it through a very similar exercise that we just went through, just with different data sources.
Yeah, I want to toss a question to Annie. So there's a question that came in. Justin asks, strategies can get stale over time, which I think is what you were getting at, Kevin. And what are KPIs that help inform whether it's time to revisit the core messaging? So I don't know whether you can give specific KPIs. I think it's probably different for every company, but maybe that person can ping you separately on our Slack channel. But yeah, strategies can get stale over time. So, how do you deal with that? I mean, do you have to change your KPIs? Do you keep the same KPIs? I mean,
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's a challenge a lot of people run into because we are backfilling our strategy with KPIs. It's much easier if you're able to start there. And it's certainly easy to identify bad KPIs for your strategy, like just really general, are we making money, isn't really good to validate if your strategy's right. There's a lot more going on. So if we take actually what Hadrian walked us through and go a step backwards and say, okay, why are we going into the web hologram market? Why is it that we as a school think we need to teach this? There were indicators there. And whether it was Google Trends, it was things happening in GitHub that were an indication that this is where the market's going. That's where you start to build those KPIs. Why did we think this was a strategy in the first place? What were our assumptions? And are assumptions proving to be true or not? And you need to be able to ask that of your strategy to be able to come back and say, this is getting stale. We're not actually accomplishing what we were hoping to accomplish.